Hello, OHS. I am Kayla, and I'm here with Miss Maddox for a TV studio teacher spotlight. So, Miss Maddox, I understand this is not your first teaching job, but I understand this is your first year at Owensville. How are you feeling about that so far?
So, a little bit of background. So, I wanted to say audition, but I applied for the position back in April and May, and I drove up here on a fine spring morning, and the first thing that struck me was when I came over the Missouri River and just how beautiful the area was, like the hills and the trees. That caught me initially, and the thing that really like anchored me here, because I did have a choice with another school, what really made me choose this was the community. I came and I did that visit day last year, and the atmosphere here, the student atmosphere, everybody seems so nice and relaxed and friendly. You have such a beautiful facility here, and I said, this is it. This is where I want to be. And the fact that I was invited to meet all the students beforehand showed me that there was a lot of care put into that, and I also put a lot of care into my decision, and I fully feel that this is where I'm supposed to be, and I made the right decision here. So I really like it here. I said the people are so nice. There's such a good school community here. Everybody's so supportive, and please keep that up.
Awesome, good to hear it. Exactly, before you came here, how long have you been a teacher, have been in music education, that sort of field?
So my first kind of teaching gig was all the way back when I was in high school, and I was a cadet teacher. I was 17 years old, and I had a 4th grade class, Miss Barnes' class. So that was when it really began. And I went through college, and I majored in music education. And my first teaching job out of college was actually pre-K. I was an assistant pre-K teacher and kinder music teacher. So I taught reading, I taught social skills, I taught how to wash your hands, I taught songs about healthy eating. And I really, really liked that. I love the little ones, but my degree is actually in secondary high school, like choir. So I decided to give that a try. And so I taught 1 year pre-K, and then I taught 2 years in Sikeston, Missouri, which is actually my high school. So I taught at the high school that I went to for 2 years. And then I decided it was time for me to leave home. I am currently attending classes at Mizzou, so I needed to be closer for that. And so this is my 3rd year teaching public school and my 4th year teaching overall.
You got some pets that you maybe want to talk about?
Yes, I do. So I have 2 cats. If you're in my class, you may have seen these cats. I have an orange tabby named Lucy, and she was originally named after Lucille Ball because Lucille Ball has like red hair and she's this orange cat, but it kind of got changed to Lucifer, but it's spelled Lucy, L-U-C-I, Fur, F-U-R, because she's fun. She's fun.
So it's a pun.
It is a pun. She's a big personality and a very little cat, but her favorite activity is waking us up for food in the morning and just being a general menace, but we love her dearly. My second cat is named Hildegard, and her full name is Hildegard von Bingen. Hildegard von Bingen, and she is a tortoiseshell. They're both 2 years old, and she's named after a medieval female composer who was in charge of a church, and her name is Hildegard. But they're both strays. They both just came into my life at various points, and I love them dearly. They're not going anywhere.
You and Mrs. G are putting on a musical theater class next year. You're trying to, right?
Yes, we are.
Would you want to tell us about that?
Ooh, yes. So you may have heard about the musical theater class. If you haven't signed up and you're interested, see me or Miss G to sign up. But as I mentioned before, I'm attending classes at Mizzou. I'm in grad school getting my secondary degree in music education. And for that, for my final project, I created a class. And Mrs. G and I had talked about it before, just kind of in passing. And then I decided for this final project, why don't I just go ahead and make that class? And so made the lesson plans, made the pacing guide, basically everything that we're going to do. And right now, it's nothing set in stone, but what Mrs. G and I are talking about is it'll be a year-long class. And so for the first semester, we'll talk more of the history of theater, where it came from, so what theater looked like and sounded like throughout time, and then doing things like costume design, makeup design, allowing you kind of to make your own and really put it in the modern day. And then the second semester is more geared towards creating a spring show. And of course, the first semester we'll listen to musical theater pieces and talk about the repertoire and the music theory behind that. But the second semester, we would host a spring show at the end of the semester where we have musical theater pieces. So we sing together in a choir and student solos as well. And so that's where it would really become your own. If you were to take that and you were to sign up for a solo, you would choose what musical theater solo you want. You could choose like what costuming elements you want for that. And it's really to showcase student talent because we have so much here. But again, nothing's set in stone. We're really trying to make that happen. So if you want that to happen, see our table at the course fair.
That sounds very exciting, honestly. I wish I could take it, I really do. As a senior, I won't, but... All right. Next segment, I'm gonna throw you for a bit of a loop, because you have not seen these questions. I went around to students in your class and asked them some questions. What inspired you to be a music teacher?
Music. So, I always liked music. My mom plays piano. She plays a little bit of organ. The church that I attended as a kid, we always had live music. We always had hymnals, and so I was just surrounded by it. And a lot of it is my older brother. He's much older than me, and I grew up with him being in orchestra and playing violin. And so I always looked up to that. And so when I turned 12 and was able to play in the school orchestra, I chose violin, and that's when it started. And I had a wonderful music teacher. Her name was Agatha French. One wonderful lady, but she just knew how to teach and connect with kids, and it was the first community I felt like I belonged to. It was the first thing that I was truly good at, and what made me look forward to going to school, because I didn't always like school, I'm sorry, but that was what made me realize like, oh, I really like music. And so I actually did violin first, and I still do violin. And then as I got into high school, sophomore year actually, not even the entire time, I joined choir. I kind of got recruited into choir, and I really felt like I fit there as well. And so I loved having both the instrumental side and the vocal side, and it just exposed me to so much music that you don't hear every day that I thought was just gorgeous. And as I started to work more and more with young people, because I have a nephew, and so I've always been around him. So as I began to work more and more with young people and get to know kids, I said, I want to share this. I know about this, and I think this is the greatest thing ever. So hopefully someone else who would think this is the greatest thing ever can have that. So that is what inspired me to do music and be in music. And you get to do cool things. I played in a symphony. I got to take an arts trip to Europe in college, so it just opened a lot of opportunities for me.
Obviously a music teacher, you do enjoy a lot of different music, I would assume. But what is your favorite song/genre of music?
Ooh, that's hard. That is very hard. Usually when people ask me this question, I say like, oh, everything. But if you want an actual question, one of my favorite songs ever, it's super basic, but it is Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. And for a couple different reasons. One, it's a beautiful piece about the bittersweetness of love. And also a fun fact people don't usually know is it has 87 verses. It really does. And so it's this beautiful song written by a fantastic songwriter, and it's so versatile, and it's 87 verses, so you can pick and choose whichever verse you want. There's even Christmas verses, so it's such a versatile song that I think people don't fully appreciate all the time. What I listen to on the regular, if that's kind of the gist of the question, a lot more classical than you realize. I listen to everything, and I mean everything. When sea shanties were a thing on TikTok, everyone's saying, do you know this song? Do you know the Wellerman? Do you know Patty Lay Back? And I said, yes I do, because I listen to that too. I tend to like a lot of folk music, so like sea shanties count as folk music. So music from around the world, music that is very old, because to me it just speaks of the people who would have experienced that and the culture it came from, and I love doing that. But I do like modern stuff too. But see me for my personal playlist.
You already answered this next one in a way when I asked about your cats earlier, but how did you get them?
There's a story too. So Hildegard is a little bit older. That is the tortoiseshell. She just walked in the door one day. I had a neighbor over. We were talking on the porch, and this kitten just walked in the door. And At first we said, oh, we'll find her a home, and then we just never did. And that's how I got her. Lucy belonged to a roommate of mine, and my cats just got really bonded, and so that's just how Lucy ended up with me. Is she was my roommate's cat, but they bonded so well that we just couldn't break them up. So love them both.
We've talked a lot about your cats, but do you have a favorite animal?
I do really like dogs. If I had a favorite breed of dog, it would be between a pit bull and a border collie, because they're both wonderful, intelligent breeds. And I like frogs. I really like frogs too. I have a frog collection. I've had a pet frog. There's a frog on and it's not a real frog, but there's like a frog statue on my porch too. It's kind of what I collect. For Christmas, my best friend got me frog shirts. So I like frogs. They're cute, really interesting, and there's so many. There's so different kinds of frogs. There's like the little African rain frogs that look like mochi, and then there's like the red-eyed tree frog. So there's lots of different frogs, and they're all really cute.
What is the weirdest food combination that you can think of off the top of your head?
Oh, goodness. Cinnamon, mustard, and sushi.
I will agree, that is a weird combination. Do you believe in bananas?
They're a government conspiracy.
You heard it here, people. Hot takes. What is your favorite Mario character?
Waluigi, if that counts. Wow.
Now, these next ones, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, because they are slightly controversial,
Okay.
I would say. Do microwaves go on the counter or the wall?
Mine's built into the wall, and I like it because it frees up counter space.
We'll just have to agree to disagree then. And finally, the final student submitted question that I have added here. What color are each of the school subjects?
I know what you mean. Science is green. Math, it goes between red and yellow. Those two are kind of the same in my brain. Music is kind of yellow and black. Music is kind of yellow and black. English is blue. Are there any that I'm missing? English is blue. Science is green. Art is rainbow.
All right. Be prepared for some backlash, I will say. That is all the questions I have for you today. Is there any closing words you'd like to say to the viewers watching the OHS TV Studio channel?
One, thank you for letting me come and interview. I like interacting with student body, getting to know you guys. Two, if you want to learn how to play piano, I teach piano. If you want to learn how to sing, I teach choir, and it's not what you think. I hear so often, oh, I can't sing. And I say, that's why you take the class. You don't take woodshop because you already know how to build a shelf, right? So be open to music, I guess, is my experience. If something feels scary, maybe you should do that within reason. So.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on, and thank you all for watching.